Hi guys, thanks for joining. Test, that seems to be working. Hello, welcome to a rather impromptu live broadcast. Excuse me while I fiddle around with a few buttons, make sure everything's working okay. Just dragged in all the equipment. Bear with me while I sort my echo out. Start properly in a moment. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is throw on a... the reason for doing this live broadcast was I'd sort of planned on doing a few of these. We've got all this equipment set in the outside broadcast trailer that we'd be using at air shows through the summer. I suspect it's going to be a little bit underused this year. So figured bring it inside, make some use of it, show some bit of material from previous seasons, do a few live broadcasts, maybe have a chat with some of you guys. What I'm going to play is a little excerpt from our Duxford September airshow programme. It's the Battle of Britain scenario that kicked off the flying there all those months ago.
I won't try and emulate his unique accent and way of speaking, but the late Connie Edwards, someone we'll reflect on during the show, passed away in May this year. He was with us here at this show last year on what turned out to be his final visit to Britain. One of the Confederate Air Force colonels who came over from the States to be involved in the filming, and of course Connie went on to be given all of the bouchons as payment for his role in the film. He remembered the blowing up of the hangar to me last September thus: they dug these big craters and filled them with fuller's earth and cement. Then what happened? In comes the big rain. When the weather broke out clear, off they went with the Heinkels, all the special effects, everything. Kaboom! Well, it never did occur to anyone that you put water on concrete for a week and, by gosh, you got rocks. It blew all the windows out the tower, it blew all the windows out of the big hangar right where we were. The funniest thing was that old Harry Saltzman, the producer, had his brand new Bentley sitting out there, and there was a chunk of concrete this size hit right on his hood.
Oh, excellent. What a great story.
And we're very fortunate to have in the display today, and more widely on the British Airshow circuit, examples of the actual aircraft that took part in the filming. The Bouchons, the Hispano Bouchons playing the BF-109s, all four of those that we're going to see in our opening sequence took part in the filming, as did one of the three Mark I Spitfires, the aircraft serial AR-213, now part of the Comanche fighters fleet. The great armada of Spitfires, Hurricanes, Bouchons, and the Spanish Casa 211s representing the Heinkel HE-111, one of which is also in the IWM's collection in the Conservation in Action hangar, brought together by Hamish Mahadi for Spitfire Productions, and the site of those Bouchons and Casas that came over from Spain for the filming, lined up on Duxford's concrete and grass, will stay with the many who came here to witness them and watched from outside. Our opening sequence then at the 2019 IWM Duxford Battle of Britain Air Show pays tribute to the events of 1968 that 50 years ago led to the release of one of the greatest aviation films of all time, and they do so with the entry of, as I was saying, four aircraft that actually flew in the Battle of Britain filming and are now regular sights over Duxford Airfield once again, 50 years on from the film's release on 15th of September, Battle of Britain Day, 1968. Yes, these four Hispano HA1112 M1L Bouchons, the Spanish-produced Rolls-Royce Merlin engine version of the Messerschmitt BF-109, an aircraft with an illustrious combat career of its own in the Spanish Air Force, serving not least in Spanish West Africa and in the Sahara. The filming started in Spain in March 1968. 16 of the Bouchons and several of the Casa 211s made the move over here, mostly flown by Spanish Air Force pilots led by the irrepressible Pedro Santa Cruz, as well as by the Confederate Air Force colonels who'd come over from Texas. And to this day, despite their roles in films such as Memphis Belle and Dunkirk, the Hispano-Bouchons remain so emblematic of Battle of Britain. One of the most impressive things about the Bouchons involved in the making of Battle of Britain was how reliable they proved to be during the filming. It was testament both to the excellence of the Messerschmitt Bf 109 design, but also of the modification to Merlin power produced by Hispano Aviación in Spain to provide the Spanish Air Force with a post-war fighter. To join the Bouchons and the
wondering
Casas,
where this is taking place.
Hamish Mahadi
Hi David, I see the
searched
question.
far and wide
it's just a
to find
replay of
suitable
our
RAF fighters. In those days,
Duxford September air show
the
last year.
scene wasn't blessed with the numbers of airworthy Spitfires and Hurricanes that we enjoy now. Well, now we're able to present 3 Spitfire 1As, and here they come from the left to start tangling with our Battle of Britain Bouchons.
Again, anyone for just joining in, this is was the opening part of the IWM Duxford Battle of Britain Air Show in September last year. I can't give you a better reason for sharing it than the fact that I've got all this kit laying around and not much else to do, so hopefully you enjoy. And I'm in the chat, so do drop us a message if you fancy doing that.
And equally, the Hawker Hurricane was not forgotten. In the making of Battle of Britain, our 4 ship of Hurricanes in from the left. And this was very much the sort of wheeling melee enacted in the skies over southeast England during the filming sequences mounted from Duxford in the summer of 1968. Albeit with the so-called psychedelic monster, the very garishly painted B-25 Mitchell camera ship in the hands of Jeff Hawke and Dwayne Egley, in the middle of it, filming the action. And watching these aircraft in action over Duxford and seeing the array of Second World War era warbirds on the flight line in front of us, we really ought also to reflect on how the making of Battle of Britain revived this airfield. It put it back into people's minds after its years in care and maintenance status. And so, when the Imperial War Museum was looking for a suitable large object store site for some of its exhibits in the early 1970s, Duxford was back in mind.
Yikes. Back to me. That was a little excerpt from our RWM Duxford Battle of Britain Air Show back in September in 2019. If you're just joining us, welcome. It's also playing on the screen behind me there. It's what's that? Looks like the Great War Team taking some hits. Welcome everyone. Hi Chris, good to see you. Thank you for the tip off on my audio levels. I'll do a little better, I promise. And hi Chris. Hi Steve. And Bhavesh from India. Fantastic. Hey, good to see you all. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year, isn't it? I don't know if the rest of you have also just seen the news about Riyadh being cancelled. That's obviously a big commitment for us normally. So I'm sat here with all this live production equipment thinking, what on earth shall I do with it? And I figured we'll do a few live broadcasts like this. Maybe have a little bit of a chat about what's going on or not going on in the world of aviation. I do hope you're all well. Do hope you're all following the appropriate guidelines from the government, etc. Crazy, isn't it? But yeah, we'll get through it. Hopefully with a bit of aviation action as well. So I've got one last little clip I've prepped. Treat this as a bit of a test. Certainly something I'd like to do regularly. In the absence of anything else to do, this will be it. The last little clip I'd like to play is actually... oh gosh, mind blank. Cliff Spink's final display at Duxford, the same show, September 2019. The reason I'm playing these, by the way, is it's the last programme we released from last year. Only just released it. So if you're waiting for a DVD and Blu-ray, that's should have already dropped through your letterbox, but if it hasn't done, it will be doing shortly. It'll be going out on watch.planestv.com hopefully this afternoon. I'm supposed to be at home at the moment looking after the little ones. So I'll be dashing home, doing a bit of that and trying to stick it up on watch.planestv.com as well. Not meant to be a promo. Well, I suppose it is a bit. Let's watch that last clip then. So it's Cliff Spink, just a tiny little element of his final display back in 2019 at Duxford. And then you'll watch the programme outro. Not very exciting. You'll hear my voice again, completely out of context, but hey, I'm trying.
And that formation fly past provides a moving finale to the airshow season at Duxford in 2019. I hope you've enjoyed Plains TV's coverage and look forward to seeing you at an airshow in the future.
So thanks for tuning in to this little test. I'll try and improve the sort of production value if I can. I'll ignore my wall chart, by the way. That's that's gone out the window.